Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our fourth Q&A session as part of the UBC Young Women for STEM's virtual presentations. So we'll get into the questions shortly, and I just want to quickly say if you have any questions and you're watching live, you can submit them using the live chat on the bottom right, just below the YouTube video if you're watching live on YouTube. If you're watching this recorded later on, you can always submit questions using the form on our website, and we will get to them either in some of our Q&As tomorrow if you submit them before then, or we can get to them later on and pass them on to our members. All right, so we'll start just with some quick introductions. My name is Tegan Phillips. I'm the founder and president of the UBC Young Women for STEM, and I will be moderating this session.
Hi, I'm Inderpreet, and I'm in my second year of chemistry.
My name's Priya. I'm in chemical biology and I'm in my 5th year.
Hi, my name is Tessa. I am a third-year PhD candidate in the Department of Zoology.
Awesome. And I'm just checking on the technical side here, making sure that this is actually working. So if you can just wait a moment, just bear with us a moment if it is working, and we will get to the questions, but just in case it's telling me that the live stream is still preparing. So on one hand, it says that we're live, and on the other hand, it says that we're not. So I'm just waiting to double check and confirm that. All right, awesome. Okay, so I got it working now. It's looks like it has been working, I think. Yes, there we go. Okay, we are good to go. Just a little technical glitch with the live streaming that it did not fully load on one part of the platform. So I don't know. It seems to be working though. So we will get to the questions. The first question is, why did you choose UBC? Was there anything that drew you in particular to the university or to Vancouver or to the program at UBC?
So for me, I think the location and the campus definitely played a part in me choosing UBC. So the campus is beautiful, obviously. And then for me, it was close enough to home, but also far enough that I could move out and gain some more independence. And then I was interested in sciences, and UBC has a good science program, so I chose it for that reason.
I don't really have a good answer, I guess. I think I was kind of looking all over Canada and I was just excited about moving to the West Coast. And yeah, I knew I wanted to do some sort of science, and, any kind of public university with a good research base is like a great place to do a degree in science or STEM.
I chose UBC because they're known to have really strong fish biologists, and that's my field of study, and more specifically is my supervisor. So she's really well known for her research worldwide, and she's a really strong woman mentor. So she was actually the reason why I chose to come to UBC, was to work under her supervision.
Awesome, cool. So Continuing talking a bit more about UBC, the next question is, what is your favorite class that you've taken so far? Is there one or two that particularly stick out to you, and why?
Okay, so I think I've enjoyed most of my classes that I've taken, so this is kind of hard, but I think two of my favorite classes from last year, I really enjoyed first year Gen Chem because that class kind of helped me like realize that I wanted to do chemistry. And then another class I took last year was a comp sci class, comp sci 110. And I'd never done like any computer science class before or like any coding. So it's sort of like my first introduction to that. And I thought it was really cool and I really enjoyed learning that.
I think for me, there was a third year biochem class I took last year. And I thought it was a really strong foundational class in the basics of, human biochem. And there was a lot of connections to disease and, how different dysregulations in your metabolism of different macromolecules could cause disease, and I thought that was really cool. And then another course I've taken, it's Microbi 202. And so it's split up into 3 sections, and you do immunology, bacteriology, and virology. And it was, again, a really good like foundational class that kind of gave you a little bit of insight into each of those different subjects. And like I've taken that knowledge has been really helpful, throughout my other classes through co-op, and like especially understanding what's happening with COVID now. We did some epidemiology in our bacteria section, and learning about the virus life cycle and all that kind of stuff has made me really understand what's happening in the world right now. And I think a lot of people would appreciate that knowledge too. So it's also not that hard of a class. So if you have the chance, it's great.
So I have never taken a course at UBC because I'm a PhD student. So I've never actually had to take any courses as a requirement. But I guess to talk on potentially courses that I've had the chance to be a teaching assistant for is Biology 342, also known as Integrative Biology. So it's a really hands-on lab course where you get to gain many different skills. And at the end, you get to create your own research project that you work on as a group throughout. So it's a really good way to learn some research skills and technical skills in the lab. And then I've also TA'd Biology 260. And if you like introductory biology courses, that's a good course to start a bit on animal physiology as well as plant physiology. And they're 2 really great profs that teach it. So a lot of students actually think it's a really fun course. So just more on insights about what courses could be interesting to take.
Awesome, thank you. So the next question is, what are your best study tips or tips to be a successful student? Is there anything that's really helped you during your studies, or anything that you'd really recommend trying out?
Yeah, so for me, being super organized and planning out my days has really helped me, especially this year with everything being online. It kind of helps me like create a structure to my day or my week. So definitely scheduling out your days, and not just like what work you need to do or like for your classes and studying, but also taking like scheduling chunks of time for yourself and like maybe for being active or like calling a friend. It definitely helps because you get really caught up in all the work you have to do. So yeah.
That's a really good answer. I think for me, I feel like throughout university, I've tried to do the whole study smarter, not harder. And so since I'm in a combined major, a lot of my classes are very different from each other. So one technique may not work for every type of class. And I mean, I think that's true for most classes, but I think it's like recognizing which classes I need to, handwrite my notes, and then which classes I can get away with just typing. And then, especially with, lectures being online, um, it's, which classes should I really join synchronously and which ones it's fine to watch afterwards. So I think it's like going into you just need to figure out what works for which class so that you can really focus your energy and not, be doing this one crazy thing that you doesn't necessarily work for that class. And I think all that comes with time. Like everyone struggles in the beginning, but as you get older, you definitely get better at doing school.
Yeah, those are great answers. And I guess just to add on top of it, one way I found that studying really helped, especially later in my third and fourth year, was finding a group of friends or people in your field or major to really study with. It's a good way to bounce ideas off and trying to understand concepts. So I thought that was really something that helped me get through studying during my last few years of university, was having a good friend group, if you could, to study with.
Great. Okay, so we have a question from one of our viewers on YouTube. So Ireland Stevens asked, how did you know STEM was for you and how did you decide on your major?
Okay, so I feel like I didn't really realize STEM was for me until quite recently, even though I did go into STEM. But when I was in high school, I was taking like all the science classes, so like bio, physics, and chem, and I was enjoying them. I liked them, and I thought it was interesting. So when I was applying to school, I applied to science. I felt like that was what I wanted to do, and then my major, I sort of got really into chemistry in grade 12. And then when I went into university, I had it like in the back of my mind, like this is something I could do. But I still tried to explore and like see if I would have any other interests. And then I really did like first year chem, and I guess like I just decided to do that because I did like it the most. But yeah, that's a difficult question.
I think for me, I think it was a really hard decision because in high school I liked math, not math. I liked humanities and I liked science, and I was good at both. So it was kind of a toss up for me, I guess. But I think the biggest factor in my life was that uh, my parents did STEM. So I think that was definitely a huge influence on me. And, it's like I talk about things in universe that I do in school or on my co-op, and like my mom and dad both understand it. And I think it's just something that's very big in my family. But of course, yeah, I have no idea what I would have chosen if my parents hadn't had that big of an effect on me. And then on my major, I think I knew I liked biology and I liked chemistry, and I wanted to explore more the intersection between the two. And I think that's kind of what made me go for my combined major and not necessarily like biochem or something like that. Um, but yeah, I guess it's really hard to choose in first year because you don't really get that much exposure into everything. So I think any like advice wise, I would go with what you're best at because you're going to be doing it forever. So you might as well be like good at it. But if you're not good at it when you start, you can always get better for sure.
How did I know STEM was for me? Pretty much in grade 12, my biology teacher was an inspiration. I've never seen someone who loves science so much. And she kind of developed my passion for biology. So that's kind of where I got the feel that I knew I wanted to do biology. So when applying to university, I applied to a bunch of different programs that were more specialized, like radiology. I applied to biomedical and I applied to biology. But in the end, I wanted to keep my options open, and I knew biology could offer different avenues. So I chose to study and take my major in biology, but actually in my third year of university, I discovered the field of animal physiology, where I started taking courses in labs in that field. And that's where I actually got to specialize my major in the role of animal physiology. So I think it's really, once you start taking courses, and if it's something you like and you have a passion for, continue down that route. And then even though you might not be good at it right away, you can improve, like Priya said, and maybe you'll just find your love in something. So that's kind of how it worked for me.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a really great question and great answers. One of the things about STEM is that it covers so many different things. There's so many different ways you can get into it, and then so many different things that you can do with it. So our next question is, what have you enjoyed most about university?
So I got to live on campus in first year, and that was definitely something that I enjoyed a lot. I got to grow a lot from that experience, and the other thing I liked about university is that I got to meet more like-minded people, and being in like more like especially like I was in science, so I got to meet other people who are passionate about science and had similar interests as me. So I enjoyed making friends like that.
I definitely would say the friends aspect. Like my best friends are in similar programs and I met them through class. And it's just been so great having someone who understands what you're going through and, taking the same thing, supporting you along the way. And I think making friends and having those people that you can rely on when it comes to classes and stuff like that has been the best part. But then also, you have, because you love science, you all have this like baseline value also, it seems like. So again, it's like you're very like-minded, and I think it's a really great place to find friends. Um, I also have definitely enjoyed my co-op experience. I think it's like made me grow a lot as a person and has definitely made me more employable, which is obviously the goal of this whole shebang. So, yeah.
I'll say also friends was a major part about enjoying university. I've had the opportunity to go to 3 different universities throughout my degrees. So I've had a lot of different friends in different cities, which is pretty cool. When you move around, you know a lot of people. Also, another thing, during my undergrad, I had the opportunity to do a 4th-year research project. And that was probably one of my favorite things I got to do during my undergrad, because I actually got to do some hands-on lab work and run my own research and conduct my own experiments all alone, which I thought was pretty developing and that gained me skills that I could now use for my future jobs as well.
Awesome. Yeah, the people definitely have come up a lot in the past Q&A sessions as well, having being around a lot of like-minded people and having that kind of support network to help you through your studies is super important and super great about university. So the next question is, what surprised you most about university?
So there's definitely a change in like difficulty level when you go from like high school to university, and like I feel like no matter how much people warn you, it still kind of surprises you when it happens. So that was definitely something in first year where you kind of had to like learn how to study and like what methods work for you and kind of adjust to that transition. But kind of like a good surprise was like the independence. You can kind of take control of your learning more and um, like adapt to things in ways like it's easier for you, if that makes sense. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I would agree. Um, you have to really take your learning, you really have to take responsibility for your own learning. Like no one is looking, no one's forcing you to do your homework or go to class or anything like that. So you have to, it was amazing the amount of like internal motivation you have to have, and that it does come because that's, you got to do school and you're here to learn. And I think once you have that internal motivation everything becomes easier and you realize like there's a point to what you're doing and it's important to you. I think another thing is the people who have supported me along the way were people who I wasn't like, oh, this person, like for example, my co-op coordinator, not really a career advisor by any means, but he really like stepped out and helped me along the way, helped me learn about myself. And that was super unexpected. So I think it's, the people that you meet along the way, you can really find some unexpected mentors, I would say. And there's definitely a lot of people you'll meet who may be people who you'll look up to or who may give you advice or who may hook you up with a job later. But yeah.
I will agree with both of those answers. That transition, I think, from high school to your first year of university was my biggest shock. I believe after my first year, I wanted to drop out and not continue with school anymore because it wasn't going the way I was used to high school was going. You're used to getting pretty easy A's and not really having to work for it as hard as you would think. But then once you get to university, it's a different story. One thing I would say, don't give up. Things can change a lot from your first and second year. I know a lot of you think grades matter, but you can do a lot of improvement after your first few years. And in the end, it won't technically matter too much once you get a job. So those are things that kind of surprised me in my first year, was that transition.
Awesome, great. So just a reminder as well for those of you who are watching, you can submit any questions using the live chat on YouTube. And if you're watching later on, you can submit questions using the Q&A form on our website or by emailing us. So on to our next question, which is, what do you wish you had known in your first year? Or is there any one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's entering their first year in the next year or two?
So I spent a lot of time like stressing and worrying in first year about having to declare my major at the end of the year and just being worried that I didn't know what I wanted to do yet or being confused. And I think I wasted a lot of time doing that. So I know it's hard, like when you don't know what you want to do, but it would be better to focus that energy into like branching out and like keeping an open mind and exploring the things you could be doing. And then another thing I would also suggest is to like prioritize your time. I think like there's so much stuff to do. Because like sometimes, like for example, if there's like one question and like a whole problem set and like you can't get it, and then you just spent like hours and hours trying to figure out that one question, and then like it's one assignment, and then you have like other things piling up, like it doesn't have to be perfect every time. So like really learning how to prioritize your time and like what things need more attention than others.
She got kicked out. Anyways, I think I would definitely tell myself to not take myself so seriously. Like there is a time and place for being stressed out about what you're going to do with the rest of your life. And first year is just not the time. Like if you just don't take yourself so seriously, then you're going to alleviate a lot of stress and be able to enjoy your first year and focus on meeting new people, trying new subjects, trying clubs. Like there's just a lot more to your first year than your major or what grades you get. And again, a degree in STEM is a degree in STEM, and it's so interdisciplinary. Anything you choose is going to have aspects of other scientific disciplines. So it doesn't have to be so difficult.
I would say it's a marathon and not a sprint in short form, just kind of expanding on what Priya said. Make sure you actually enjoy your time at university. You kind of have 4 years to figure out more exactly what you want to do. So don't stress too much at the beginning. Give yourself time to enjoy your courses, meet new people, I wish I'd known to join clubs earlier on, or even I wish I had known that I could volunteer in labs. If you're interested in biology, you could actually email profs or look at lab websites and get involved in helping them with animal care or helping graduate students with their projects and try to gain some experience as well on the side. It's something I had no idea that I could do in my first few years of university. That's something you could do to see if you like it and decide a bit more what you want to do with your future.
Awesome, great. So now turning to look forward, what are your plans or goals for after you graduate? And if you still aren't sure, then maybe could you say a little bit about what kind of opportunities are available for people who do graduate with the program that you're working towards?
Okay, so I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do. So I'm in my second year, so I feel like I have some more time to figure it out. But right now, I'm thinking about continuing on to graduate school and maybe working in research. I'm interested in green chemistry and working towards sustainability, possibly.
I'm graduating this year, so I have had a bit of thought about this. But I'm hoping to kind of work as a research associate for a bit, probably at a biotech, and then from there, maybe go get my MBA and do some work on the more business side of science or project management. I think it's very important if you're working in biotech or anything like that, that, those people who are making the decisions have a scientific background. So that's eventually where I want to go.
I'll probably be graduating 2 to 3 years with my PhD, so that kind of gives me a different avenue of jobs. I'm hoping to either be a lecturer for a university or a professor at a smaller university that's more focused on teaching than research. So those are my two avenues, or potentially looking into more the hatchery field, so working at a hatchery and running more aquaculture-based projects potentially as well. So those are a few options after having a PhD. It opens the door to a different set of jobs than an undergrad, but still lots of opportunities.
Cool, thanks. All right, so we are coming near to the end of our Q&A session. We have one final question for everyone, which is there anything else you would recommend to someone considering going to university?
So university is definitely a journey, and a lot of the time it's not super smooth sailing. So you're gonna have a lot of ups and downs, and it gets really hard sometimes. But I would really like, don't be too hard on yourself and don't give up. Like if you put in the work, like it will get better, even though a lot of times it feels like it won't. Just keep trying, and there's a lot of improvement that gets made eventually.
I think a really important thing is take your time. If you have the luxury of people who will support you, if you take a bit longer, like totally do it. The people who rush through and graduate in like 3 years, they were not having fun. And like, if taking advantage of programs like co-op and work learn and all this kind of stuff, like it really helps build you as a person. So if it takes you a bit longer, there's literally no harm. Co-op is paid, so you can still support yourself and you get a break from school, but definitely take your time if you're able to.
Yeah, I'll just add on that. I find at the time that you're finally out of high school, you're usually with a different group of people. And so a lot of time people actually find themselves and find what they're passionate and kind of find a different avenue in life. So really make sure you're enjoying yourself. And also once you get into university, don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're unsure about something, I know a lot of people are shy in their first year, but even using those office hours as a TA, a lot of students don't take advantage of this, but we're actually always here to help you. So don't be afraid to ask us questions if you're struggling with anything, because we're always here to help.
Great. All right, so that ends our Q&A session for tonight. Thank you, Inderpreet, Priya, and Tessa for taking part in the Q&A. And thank you, those of you who have watched either live or watched the recording later on. We will have a couple more Q&A sessions tomorrow on Friday. With a few more of our members. You can check out the schedule on the bottom of the member videos page on our presentation site. And there you can also find the recordings of all of the past Q&As as well. And the ones tomorrow will also be recorded and be available there afterwards. If you have any further questions, please use the question form on our presentation site or send us an email at ubcywfs@gmail.com. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.